Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. Do you think that viruses which spread every few decades are dangerous enough to potentially turn people into zombies? If this happens, how would the humans who haven't transformed survive? Is there a cure or solution? Or would they just have to keep running from the transformed, like in the movie Resident Evil, 2007, one of the strongest zombie films released? The film begins with a woman waking up, either from sleep or unconsciousness, and finding herself naked in a bathtub with a shower curtain around her. It's unclear if she was asleep voluntarily or if something happened to her. She wakes up feeling pain in her shoulder, gets dressed in a robe, and looks at herself in the mirror before leaving the bathroom. She finds herself in a luxurious bedroom with a red dress on the bed, which seems to be her size. She puts on the dress and realizes she might have to either eat or throw away a piece of it. When she exits the bedroom, she finds herself in a grand, newly furnished house. She notices a photo of herself and a man, presumably her husband, in wedding attire. She then finds a distinctive door among many in the mansion. When she enters, she discovers a completely different environment, resembling a high-tech security system with lasers. She narrowly avoids the lasers and manages to get through. She continues through a hospital and uses her surroundings to navigate safely, only to encounter more deadly traps. Despite her efforts to avoid them, she is killed by a trap. This quick demise raises questions about how the story will continue, given the significant investment in the film. Soon, 3 men in white protective suits appear, including a scientist who takes a blood sample from the woman's body for analysis, orders the cleaning of the area, and instructs them to dispose of the corpse. In an old abandoned house, an elevator opens from beneath the ground, carrying 2 men and a corpse. They take the body outside, where it's revealed that there are hundreds of similar corpses dumped in the same area. A bird's-eye view, showing that the entire area is surrounded by a wall, beyond which is a massive army of zombies waiting for a chance to get inside. The virus began spreading in America, which initially underestimated the severity of the outbreak. They claimed to have the situation under control, but the virus eventually spread throughout the entire country and then worldwide, leading to a catastrophic situation with dried-up rivers and transformed green spaces into deserts. The narrator emphasizes that standing still in one place means certain death, and survival requires constant movement. Then, Alice riding a motorcycle and driving along the road. She hears a distress signal coming from a nearby location and immediately heads there without hesitation. She enters cautiously into a dark and empty place, finding a woman holding a child and pleading for help. However, the woman suddenly points a gun at her, and multiple weapons are aimed at her from people around. Alice tries to resist, drops the child, and pulls out a toy doll. The woman starts laughing and mimicking the distress call, revealing that it was a trap. The people around are surprised, mentioning that every time they use this tactic, it works, and they get people through the distress signals. It becomes clear that the Alice is tied up, and one of the captors approaches to remove her clothing. She kicks him in the face, kills him with a single strike, and the others around her scream in shock. She attempts to fight them off, but one of them hits her on the head with the butt of a gun, causing her to lose consciousness. When she wakes up, she finds herself tied up again, this time in a large pit. A woman taunts her, saying she'll see what happens to her for killing one of her children. The woman instructs one of the bystanders to open a door, and it is revealed that behind the door are zombie dogs. Alice quickly reacts, managing to maneuver around and tie each dog with electric cables to iron columns supporting the ceiling. The dogs' movements eventually cause the columns to collapse, bringing down the ceiling on top of them. Alice manages to climb out of the pit, leaving behind the zombies and dogs that are now attacking the captors. She retrieves all her weapons and belongings that were in her bag and continues on her way. Next, a zombie eating a corpse in the middle of a desert road. A bus drives by, running over the zombie, and the passengers inside watch the scene unfold. Following that, a convoy of 6 cars traveling together, forming a small group of survivors in a tight formation. One of the women in the convoy runs out of cigarettes and asks the person next to her for one. The person replies that they don't have any, and another in the convoy says they also have none, but will get some once they stop. The woman reflects on the dire situation, noting how the end of the world has become evident when even in a convoy of 6 cars with all these people, no one has a cigarette. Next, the underground facility beneath the desert. It turns out this isn't just an ordinary garage, but a vast underground complex with over 1,000 floors. The Doctor is seen discussing the latest updates with high-ranking officials. He mentions their current goal is to conduct experiments to make the creatures smarter, as they have discovered that the zombies do not actually consume meat, though they are still unsure about their motivation for attacking humans. Their main focus is now on training and taming these creatures. The officials then ask about the status of Project Alice. The Doctor reports that the main Alice subject has escaped, and the current copies are individually produced with limited success. They are working to improve these copies and find the best version. The officials decide to focus on taming the creatures and Project Alice, assigning a new liaison to oversee the doctor's work and act as a mediator. Alice, observing a gas station from a distance, armed with a rifle. After carefully surveying the area, she decides to take action. She approaches Steve, knocks him out with her weapon, and secures him to the bus. She then checks if there is anyone else around before starting her motorcycle. Once she enters the station, she moves cautiously and finds a cabinet. Opening it, she discovers that the station's worker had hanged himself in despair and finds a notebook underneath. She quickly grabs the notebook and exits to avoid the numerous insects in the area. The notebook contains valuable information, such as isolated locations free from infection, like Alaska. She takes the notebook and continues moving cautiously. Upon reaching a specific area, she signals to check if anyone is inside. When there is no response, she and her team hesitate briefly but eventually decide to enter, taking their weapons and proceeding with extreme caution. The scene shifts to a black man who cautiously moves toward a room, opens it carefully, and is immediately attacked by a creature. Despite being bitten, he manages to fend off the creature and ends up resting on a bed, only to be attacked again by another one. Realizing he's in serious trouble, his friend arrives just in time to save him, killing the attacking creature. His friend then suggests sending for help, which he agrees to. The scene then cuts to the heroine, who receives a message from the injured character, asking her to treat him and join him for dinner later. Despite his injuries, he insists he can manage. The doctor in a room with one of the creatures, conducting experiments with two assistants. The doctor presents a phone to the creature, which seems to understand its function. This observation is confirmed when the creature uses the phone correctly. The creature is also given a camera, which it examines and uses to take pictures, demonstrating increased intelligence. However, the situation quickly escalates. The creature, now showing aggressive behavior, attacks the doctors. The doctor manages to lock the door on the other two scientists inside and attempts to escape. The creature kills the two scientists. As the doctor retreats, Trina opens the door to get out. The convoy, where one of the crew members is distributing food, and Trina lighten the mood with some jokes. Meanwhile, the black girl heads to the back of the vehicle with the black guy to have a private conversation. One of the drivers placing surveillance sensors with cameras and motion detectors around the camp. These sensors are designed to alert them if anyone approaches the camp. Back at the base, Alice continues to review the notebook she found. Exhausted, she falls asleep, but begins to dream about her husband from a photograph. It turns out that her husband is actually working on installing the cameras and equipment. She wakes up to find her surroundings in chaos. The motorcycle and other equipment are damaged beyond repair. Next, the AI system alerts the scientist to significant activity coming from a desert location. The scientist instructs the AI to verify the new model and provides the coordinates of the detected activity. Alice, who is moving through the desert towards the coordinates. After her last encounter where she was injured while Trina helped someone, she had not followed through but now has no other choice. Back at the camp, the people are asleep when suddenly the motion sensors trigger, waking everyone up. One person finds a crow in their face and retreats. As everyone wakes up, they realize that the area is swarming with crows. These are not ordinary crows, they are feral, having fed on infected corpses. The crows attack, and the people in the camp find themselves unable to defend against the onslaught. In an attempt to save everyone, the black girl decides to sacrifice herself to distract the crows. As the crows continue their attack, the situation becomes dire, with people being picked off one by one. Alice, seeing the chaos from a distance, uses her abilities to create a shield, and then uses a weapon that shoots fire, burning the crows in the sky. The scene is dramatic as everyone watches in disbelief at the turn of events. The AI informs the scientist of renewed activity and suggests a 45% chance that the recent developments are the work of Alice, indicating a significant advancement. The government official then enters and tells the scientist that frequent surface trips are dangerous for everyone. He also questions the numerous experiments being conducted on these specimens. The scientist responds that results are all that matter and insists that the official should keep quiet. The official, frustrated, threatens to inform the president about the situation. Meanwhile, we see Alice's husband carrying her inside the facility. Once inside, she encounters the deputy president, who warmly welcomes her and discusses the need to bury the deceased and plan the next steps. They proceed to bury the bodies, and Alice talks with her husband. She explains why she had to leave earlier, mentioning that she couldn't stay with anyone from the organization due to security reasons, and that she had previously hacked into their monitoring systems. Despite the danger, she is happy to be reunited with him. The AI then informs the scientist that it is 62% certain that the activity is linked to Alice. The leader of the convoy reassures Alice, acknowledging that people are wary of her, but understands their concern given her actions. She advises the heroine to stay relaxed. The scientist discusses with the government official about the need to take action. The official expresses concern about the risks and insists on confirming with 100% certainty that Alice is the source of the activity. The scientist argues that a 62% probability is significant. The official agrees to consult others and stresses that decisions shouldn't be made impulsively. The convoy, where they are discussing the information in the notebook. The woman expresses concern about giving people false hope, suggesting it might be better to avoid promising anything. Others argue that even if the hope is false, it's better than having none at all, and that they need to follow through with their plans. They mention that Alaska is isolated and currently uninhabited, making it a distant and complicated option. However, after discussing with everyone, they decide to head to Alaska, provided they can gather enough fuel and supplies for the journey. They realize they need to refuel all their vehicles and stock up on fuel and water. They consider doing this from a nearby location called Vegas, which is closer but still has risks due to its potential dangers and inhabitants. Despite the concerns, they agree that Vegas is the most feasible option, and they decide to proceed with it. The doctor taking advantage of his conversation with the politician. He fabricates a false call and issues a fake order for a rescue mission to capture the runaway model of Alice project. The entire convoy heads to Vegas, but upon arrival, they find the city buried under dirt, indicating that no one was left to clear it. They hope to find fuel, but the black man in the group points out that it's likely buried underground due to the dirt. He recalls a past experience where he lost a lot of money due to a similar situation. They decide to search the area, with one of them climbing a tower to act as a sniper, while the others spread out. Meanwhile, Alice senses something in a container, and suddenly, numerous zombies emerge from it. A confrontation ensues between them and the zombies. The doctor and his team, who have set up a camp nearby on a rooftop, observe the situation and are pleased to see the evolution of the Alice model. They plan to retrieve the body after its death and prepare the satellite to monitor the process. The satellite is deactivated at a critical moment, rendering it useless. As the situation worsens, several members of the convoy are killed. The person in the tower, whose ammunition runs out, is attacked by zombies and falls, taking another person with him as they both die. The black man turning into a zombie and attacking his comrade, but fortunately, Alice's husband kills him quickly. Alice continues to fight against the satellite, using her powers to affect and damage it. The doctor's team reports that the satellite is malfunctioning and damaged. Alice manages to regain her strength and return to reality. The doctor unleashed the zombies to test Project Alice and prevent her from escaping, aiming to control her. She runs towards the rooftop before the satellite signal can be re-established, and kills several of the doctor's men. The doctor escapes to the plane but is bitten by a creature during the escape. He manages to fly the plane away in the end. When Alice's husband catches up, he realizes he's about to die. Alice, her husband, and the two friends face the zombies at the location and discuss their plan. Alice's husband, knowing his time is up, decides to sacrifice himself to ensure their escape, acknowledging that he can't be saved. After Alice's husband shares the news with the others, they, along with the children, are in a vehicle preparing to use the explosives he has to breach the wall and gain entry. He drives the vehicle, crashes through the barrier, and as he falls, lights a cigarette. He then ignites the explosives, causing a massive explosion that destroys a large number of zombies. Following the explosion, they board the helicopter and fly toward Alaska since the vehicles couldn't make it due to a lack of fuel. Alice, having lost her husband, finds the place in ruins upon arrival. The AI appears and reveals itself to Elysium. She acknowledges knowing Elysium's old sister, who was like her. The AI explains that it cannot kill her because her blood is part of the cure. It informs Alice that the doctor who was bitten took a treatment developed from her blood, and many people are still in the place. The AI is unable to contain the situation for long. The AI then suggests that Alice help create a cure using the available tools in the facility. Alice agrees to assist and follows the AI's instructions. As she approaches, she senses something and discovers a version of herself in a containment chamber. The doctor arrives. Then, a fierce fight ensues between Alice and the doctor. The doctor breaks the containment of the copy of Alice and starts attacking the real Alice. As she struggles with him, the copy of Alice shakes with fear and confusion. But eventually, the real Alice leaves her and goes upstairs to continue fighting the doctor. The confrontation with the doctor is intense and filthy. He attempts to strangle her with his tongue. Eventually, Alice manages to cut him, but he pulls her into a room with lasers and breaks a wall. She finds herself trapped and confronts the doctor, expressing her disappointment in discovering that she was the future and he is such a motherfucker. As they face imminent danger from the laser alarm system, Alice realizes that the copy of herself is still alive and has been working to prevent her death. Together, they overcome the situation and manage to escape. Then, Japan, where everyone at the institution is gathered. They discuss the unfortunate news that the American branch has been destroyed due to the doctor's experiments and the creatures. Consequently, they decide to abandon everything related to that branch. Fortunately, they have copies of everything and can start anew, whether with Alice's project or the monster taming project. At this meeting, the real Alice from the American branch joins them. She warns them that it isn't worth starting over because she will come for them with some of her allies. She intends to bring a group of Alice copies that were previously kept for the doctor's experiments. This time, however, they will be used to spread the cure worldwide with the help of artificial intelligence. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button to get more new videos. See ya!